So when I first started tweeting about Irish whiskey, I remember it was about probably a year ago this week or this month, and I was down in Youghal Beach and I tweeted something about whiskey, and a man called That's Dram Good, an account called That's Dram Good, tweeted saying that you'd just been in Midleton where I had just bought a box of miniatures. I was taking pictures of them on the beach.
That's right, I remember.
I don't know if you remember that. And that was my first time connecting with you online. And then I quickly began to realise that you were the man in Irish whiskey. You were the fella that distilleries were afraid of for fear of your reviews, and everybody in the whiskey world knew of you for either through events or through connecting online. So you've been involved in the Irish whiskey world in an amateur way for a long time, right?
Yeah, I've been kind of tweeting for a long time and going to tastings for a long time, probably 10 years actually this year.
Oh, is that
right? But in relation to blogging, I suppose I'm only done that for a year and a half.
Okay.
Or thereabouts. So I wouldn't say I'm the man in Irish whiskey. There are some great people who went before me, like
we get to call you that,
and people. You can call me that all you want, but yeah, I got into it about 10 years ago. So I actually got into it because of a work colleague, a guy called Mike Thompson, who introduced me to Jameson.
Oh yeah,
Jameson with ice starting off,
right,
and then trying it neat without ice, and then decided, I wonder, is there something a little bit better and a level above it? And my next one was Redbreast 12, which is why I have such a fondness for it. And I just went from there.
Were you a whiskey drinker before that, or
no?
Just,
no. Started in 2009 and never looked back.
And so over the last 10 years, you've got to know the different brands. You've got to taste them. You went to tastings. So that's how you built up your kind of knowledge and understanding of what's the difference between the different styles and types and brands.
I owe an awful lot, I suppose, to the Irish Whiskey Society and now the Cork Whiskey Society. We had a Cork chapter of the Irish Whiskey Society, and we're very lucky to have like Veric Ryan, who's a distiller here in Midleton. Gerard Garland was giving us loads of tastings, and everyone from the whiskey world was embracing the Cork chapter of the Irish Whiskey Society, which we've now become our own chapter, our own society, the Cork Whiskey Society. And they're fantastic ways of getting to really understand whiskey, understand the brands, understand the taste profiles. And it's the one piece of advice I give everyone starting out is join a society. Be it Cork, be it the Irish Whiskey Society, be it the Aviators. There's fantastic societies out there that you can go to, you can get great information, great history, and that's really where I got my love and my knowledge, I suppose, really came from that society. And then started working away myself, taking my own tasting notes and kind of working my way through it.
Yeah. And I see these societies now are popping up all over, like you've got the Waterford Society is popping up, and
that's right.
I know the Irish Whiskey Society's got a Dingle outpost now. It's harder to find them where I am over in the States, but that's why whenever I come back, I'm always wondering what's going on here that I can learn more from. And so in terms of like getting a knowledge of Irish whiskey, if you don't have access to those, and I don't, and many Americans don't, what I found very helpful is Twitter.
Yeah.
So you and a few others have been very instrumental in kind of raising the profile of Irish whiskey just through kind of get-togethers online. Talk a little bit about those initiatives on a Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
Twitter's a great platform. It's a great platform for people conversing.
Yeah.
The conversation just flows with Twitter. So that's nearly 2 years ago now, I suppose, I started a Friday night dram.
Okay.
I used the hashtag Friday Night Dram and asked people to join me in a virtual tasting. So whatever they were tasting, we asked them to put it up, and conversation just flowed from that. It actually trended 2 months ago in the Irish charts, which was excellent. After that, you had Ivor Dean and Whiskey Talk to You came on with the Saturday night sip, and then Dave O'Connell came on with the Sunday night sup, and over the 3 nights you have many of the same followers, and then you have certain people who will only drink on those certain nights. So we all have our own kind of followers, but we have the whole community involved in it as well.
It's a great way to learn about the different styles and different tasting notes. Like, I'm very amateur when it comes to understanding the different flavors and what I should be sensing on the nose, and I'm listening and learning from those who've gone before me and those who've got a better nose than I do to learn, well, what are they picking up, and then I'll try and
that's how you do learn. I say tasting note and you try it the next time and you realise that's exactly what I was tasting. And the other side of it is our palates are all different, and our nasal capacity or our factory senses are different. So what I'll pick up may not be what you pick up.
Right.
And when I pick up one note, it might give me a memory of my childhood and something that I remember back, whereas for you it'd be something totally different. And that's the great thing about whiskey.
Yeah, those are 3 great hashtags to jump in on. Friday night dram, Saturday night sip, Sunday night sup.
Yeah.
3 distinct hashtags. So a year ago I started tweeting about Irish whiskey and talking a little bit from my perspective over in the United States, and then over time I started to engage with people online. And then when I came over here for Whiskey Live in November last year, I met people for the first time that I'd been engaging with online. Yourself, a few others. That community feeling was unreal.
Yeah.
People who went out of their way. 2 incidents that blew my mind when I came over. One was I first met Whiskey or Whiskey, Mark, from Dublin, and he wanted to show me the Pierce Lyons distillery. And I met him outside Pierce Lyons, and he handed me a bag, and inside was single pot still from Teeling, that batch 1 that came out 2 weeks before. Mark had gone to the distillery to buy that for me because he knew that I might not be able to get it in time.
Yeah.
Didn't ask for it, he just gave it to me. He wouldn't take payment or anything. Yeah. And then a night or 2 later, sitting in the Palace Bar after one of the nights of Whiskey Live, and I'm sitting in the corner, and all of a sudden a redbreast appears in front of me, and it's from Thomas Sutton, who didn't know the man, but he said, "Oh, I watched a couple of your videos. I just want to buy you a redbreast."
Yeah.
So we started chatting. We've been chatting ever since, and that community is unbelievable.
There's a massive community spirit in Irish whiskey, and I suppose that's the thing. People kind of stigmatise whiskey as being something that you get drunk with, and you don't. You sit there, you sip it, you enjoy it, you savour it, and you meet friends, and you talk to friends, and you talk to people, and it's a great way of getting to know people and meeting new people.
It absolutely is.
Like you said, we meet people online that we haven't met in real life, and when you meet them, they're like brothers. They're like people that you know for years.
I know.
No, we have a fantastic community, and Mark Bergen is an absolute pinnacle of it.
He's a gent
because he's done the same for me.
Yeah,
he's met me once. He's handed me a bag, and inside it was whiskey.
And I've sent Mark back like some bourbons from the US then, and he's thrilled with that. And I love this community side of it. Like we're here in the Midleton Distillery, and we're going to do a tasting tonight. 32 people. I'm going to meet people for the first time that I've known for a year. Online. I've never met them in person. So when we look at other parts of the world, they drink whiskey differently. Like in the US, 80% of the whiskey consumed, I make that figure up, is by shots.
Yeah.
And we don't do shots of whiskey in Ireland.
Not at all.
We sip, we talk, we tell a story, we get to know people, we take our time. You talked earlier when we were videoing about taking an hour over a sip.
Yeah.
That's something completely new to people, but it's about, I think whiskey's about bringing people together.
Correct.
Not just standing at a bar
if you're
shooting.
shooting back whiskey, you're doing it to get drunk, and that's not what the idea is. The idea is to sip and savour it and chat to the person alongside you and enjoy the whiskey and enjoy the person's company. You opened a bottle inside there that's worth quite a lot of money at the moment. That's what it's about.
I want to share it and enjoy it.
It was meant to be shared and enjoyed and have the conversation.
I think that's the thing I want to get across the most is to those outside of Ireland who aren't used to how we naturally maybe roll up to a bar and meet friends, have a drink and take our time, and we kind of meet over that and talk about it. Is that's what we should do with whiskey.
Yeah. And you'll never find an Irish person shooting whiskey here in Ireland.
No.
It only seems to be really in America that you're finding that.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we will grab a pint, and yes, we will have a small one with it.
Yeah.
But they'll be sipped and savoured with each other.
They will.
You don't knock one back. You don't pour one in as a Boilermaker. You have them side by side, and you enjoy them side by side with good company.
That's it. I think it's a great message for whiskey brands too, that as they think about how to get more people to buy, I'd say first bring people together.
Yes.
Then introduce the liquid. I mean,
correct.
Whiskey is whiskey, right? I mean, of course, it's got all its variations, but I'm more likely to go where I'll enjoy the company, I'll enjoy the people, maybe I'll learn something. It's all about the experience.
Absolutely.
Experience first and the whiskey second.
Correct. Right.
Great whole community we have here. Well, it is great to meet you now the second time that we've met.
Absolutely.
And
won't be our last, Barry.
hopefully many more.
Absolutely.
And we'll drink some more whiskies and open some more great bottles.
Yeah.
I'll be back in 20 years for your retirement to open the 32-year-old dream cask.
Yes.
Great
definitely.
stuff. Cheers.